Have you ever wondered how Noah managed to overcome such enormous challenges? What if I told you that his secret might be exactly what you need to weather the storms in your life? Now close your eyes for a moment and picture this. A heavy, gray sky, thunder rumbling in the distance, and the scent of rain filling the air. You're surrounded by mocking voices and disdainful glances. Yet, in the midst of it all, there's a man, calm and determined, building an ark on dry land. That man is Noah, and his story is far more than an ancient account. It's a powerful example of unshakable faith and perseverance that still resonates today. But here's the question: how does someone hold on to faith and keep moving forward when everything seems impossible? How did Noah face criticism, doubt, and fear while following a plan no one else could understand? And more importantly, what can we learn from him to tackle the enormous challenges in our own lives? Today, you'll uncover the most valuable lessons from Noah's story. Together, we'll dive into this journey and discover how his obedience, planning, and resilience can equip you to face even the fiercest storms life throws your way. Stay with me until the end, because you'll leave this video with a fresh perspective and the inspiration you need to overcome any challenge. Throughout the video, you'll also see carefully selected artwork and oil paintings that bring Noah's story to life in a truly unforgettable way. Let's get started. Imagine living in a world where goodness seemed to have vanished. People did whatever they wanted without considering the consequences, as if God was no longer present. It was a moral chaos, and God, observing what his creation had become, felt profound sadness. Yet, amidst this darkness, there was a light: Noah. Now think about this. How many times in your life have you felt like Noah, trying to do what's right while everything around you feels upside down? Noah was an ordinary man, just like you and me, but he had something special. He trusted God, even when everything seemed to say otherwise. God then called him to an extraordinary mission: building an ark. And here's the first big lesson: obedience. When God asks something of us, we often don't understand it at the moment, but there's always a greater purpose. Maybe today, you're facing something that doesn't make sense right now. But like Noah, the call to keep going is clear. Noah wasn't an experienced builder, but he followed God's instructions down to the smallest detail. And that makes me wonder, how many times in life are we given an ark to build? It could be a project no one understands, a career change, or even repairing broken relationships. Noah's lesson is clear. No matter how impossible it seems, with faith and dedication, we can move forward. While he built the ark, people around him mocked him. Look at crazy Noah, building a boat in the middle of the desert. Maybe you've felt that too. People doubting your dreams, questioning your choices. But here's something to reflect on. God often works in silence, and faith is an exercise in persistence, even when no one else believes in you. The second big lesson from Noah's story is planning. He didn't just trust God, he took action. Every nail hammered, every piece of wood placed was part of a greater plan. This reminds me that faith isn't passive. It requires action. What are you doing today to prepare for what God has planned for you? And then, something extraordinary happened. When the ark was ready, the animals began to arrive. Lions and lambs, elephants and birds. They all seemed to know exactly where to go. Can you picture the scene? It must have been chaotic yet magical at the same time. This teaches us that when we follow God's plan, He also provides the necessary resources. But let's think about this. How did Noah manage all those animals? Perhaps he learned that organization is essential. In our lives, that could mean bringing order to chaos, prioritizing what's important, and trusting that even in difficult times, God is in control. When everything was ready, Noah, his family, and the animals entered the ark, and the doors were shut. Then the rain began. First, a light drizzle, then a raging storm. Imagine the noise, the darkness, the force of the water. Yet inside the ark, there was safety. Here's another powerful lesson. Obedience to God always places us in a position of protection, even when the world around us is falling apart. Now, apply this to your life. Maybe you're facing a storm of problems, financial struggles, family conflicts, health challenges. But just as Noah trusted that God was in control, you can also remember that there's a purpose behind the storms. Inside the ark, Noah and his family endured days that must have felt endless. Think about it. Weeks confined, surrounded by animals of all kinds, listening to the constant sound of rain outside, the darkness, the constant rocking of the ark, and the strong smell of so many animals must have been overwhelming. Yet even in this challenging situation, Noah and his family learned something fundamental: the importance of unity and patience. Maybe they argued, maybe they had moments of doubt, but they stayed together because they knew the purpose was greater than any temporary discomfort. Isn't it the same in our own lives? How often do we face periods of waiting, moments where we don't see a solution or a way out? Noah teaches us that in these moments, we need to trust and keep going, even when the situation feels unbearable. The third lesson we take from this story is resilience. Imagine waking up every day inside an ark, not knowing how much longer the storm would last. That requires tremendous inner strength. Here's something to reflect on. How do you handle times of uncertainty? What gives you the strength to keep going when everything around you feels like it's falling apart? After 40 days and 40 nights of rain, the waters began to recede. But Noah couldn't just open the door and step outside. He had to wait. He sent out a dove to check if dry land was visible. The first time, it returned with nothing. The second time, it came back with an olive leaf. Now, think about the symbolism of that. That tiny leaf was proof that life was beginning to emerge again. It wasn't the end of the process, but it was a sign of hope. It reminds me that, often, God gives us small signs in the midst of our struggles, as if saying, "I'm still here. Keep trusting." When the ark finally came to rest on Mount Ararat, Noah and his family stepped out into a renewed world. Imagine the relief, the fresh air, the sound of birds singing again. But there were also challenges. It was time to start over. And here is one of the greatest lessons of this story: the ability to rebuild. In life, we all face moments when we have to start from scratch. Whether it's after a loss, a mistake, or an unexpected change, we need to look forward and believe it's possible. Noah and his family didn't know what the future would hold, but they trusted God's plan and moved forward. After all of this, God made a covenant with Noah and placed a rainbow in the sky as a symbol of his promise. He would never again destroy the earth with a flood. Now, think about the beauty of this gesture. The rainbow isn't just a beautiful image. It's an eternal reminder that God is faithful to his promises. And here's a question for you. What's the rainbow in your life? What is that sign that reminds you there's hope, even in the toughest moments? Today, we face our own storms, financial crises, health problems, emotional challenges. Sometimes it feels like the world is falling apart around us. But just like Noah, we are called to persevere, to trust, and to keep building, even when we don't see the immediate results. And you know what's amazing? Just as God gave Noah the tools and resources to complete his mission, He also gives us everything we need to overcome our challenges. It might be a friend's support, an unexpected opportunity, or even a word of encouragement at just the right time. So, let me ask you, what's your ark? What has God placed in your hands to build, even if it seems difficult or hard to understand? Maybe it's a project, a dream, or even the restoration of something important in your life. Noah's story shows us that even when everything seems lost, there's a greater purpose. And more importantly, there's always a new beginning, a chance to rebuild and move forward. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps share this message with more people who might be facing their own storms. Share it with someone you know who needs to hear this. Life outside the ark represented a new beginning. Imagine Noah and his family stepping onto dry land after so long. The fresh air, the clear sky, and the silence replacing the sound of rain must have felt like a miracle. But it wasn't just a moment of relief. It was the start of a challenging journey. After all, they were alone in a completely empty world. Everything had to be rebuilt from scratch. Noah and his family had to work together to cultivate the land, build new shelters, and find ways to sustain the life that remained. This moment in the story teaches us the importance of starting over, even when everything feels uncertain. It's as if God was saying, here's your chance to do things differently, to start over with purpose. Think about how many times in life we're faced with the need to start again. Whether it's after a loss, a mistake, or even a major achievement that left us feeling directionless, we all face these moments. Noah's story shows us that, with faith and determination, we can rebuild our lives, even in the most challenging situations. And it was during this rebuilding that God did something extraordinary. He gave humanity a chance to start over from scratch. Picture this: an empty stage, brightly lit, where the actors are Noah, his family, and a whole bunch of animals stepping off the ark. A chaotic but meaningful parade. Think about the responsibility. Every step would write a new story, one that would shape everything to come. If you think about it, it's not so different from the fresh starts we face in our own lives. Sometimes, after a personal crisis, a loss, or a difficult choice, we feel like we're starting from nothing. It's scary, but there's also a spark of hope. Maybe this time, I can get things right. Noah and his family faced a huge challenge. The Bible tells us they were sustained by faith as they rebuilt everything in a world that was practically empty. If there had been a neighborhood market back then, it would have had a sign reading, "Closed until further notice," because there was no one around. Now imagine the work it took to rebuild. It required effort, sweat, and the same perseverance that kept Noah's family inside the ark during the flood. But let's not romanticize the situation. The flood wiped out almost everything, and they must have missed the before, even if the before wasn't so great. The beauty of starting over is the chance to do things differently. It's as if God was saying, now, you have the opportunity to write a new chapter. Speaking of which, maybe you're going through a flood of your own right now. It could be unemployment, a family crisis, or some change that has turned your life upside down. Sometimes we feel like giving up. But then a small glimmer of hope appears, asking, what if, after this storm, I can put things back together in a better way? That's exactly what Noah did. When no one believed in him, he kept building the ark. It's almost funny to imagine people staring at that massive boat in the middle of nowhere, doubting his sanity. But Noah trusted that there was a greater purpose ahead. And there was. After the rain stopped, a brand new future unfolded. Bringing this to our reality, how often do we feel like we're building an ark that no one understands? It could be a professional project or a life decision. If you're confident it's the right thing to do, keep hammering away. Even if others find the noise strange, in the end, it might all be worth it. In this process, we can't do everything alone. Noah had his family, with each member playing a role. And what about us? Are we accepting help from those who reach out to us? Or are we trying to face everything alone, without sharing our struggles with anyone? Sometimes, all it takes is opening up to find new ideas and renewed motivation. Speaking of sharing experiences, if you're enjoying this message, why not subscribe to the channel and leave a comment sharing a bit of your story? Your experience might inspire someone who's facing their own storm right now. A simple message can brighten someone's day. As endless as the flood may seem, it will pass. And knowing that God never abandons us is an incredible relief. The rainbow that appeared after the flood reminds us that the story doesn't end in destruction, but in renewal. Maybe your rainbow today is a new job, a supportive phone call, or just a sense of peace in your heart. So, if you're in a turbulent season, remember this: the waters will recede. And when that happens, the new beginning might be even more beautiful than anything you've had before. Just don't give up halfway through the journey. And don't forget to share your discoveries with us. After all, no one has to face the storm alone, right? Exactly. No one faces the storm alone. But when it's over, is it enough to simply breathe a sigh of relief and celebrate? If that were the case, Noah's story would have ended the moment he stepped off the ark. But real life doesn't work that way. After the storm comes the practical part, and that's where planning comes in, and planning was essential. If Noah needed detailed instructions to build the ark, imagine the organization required to plant crops, care for the animals, and build shelters for his family. Maybe they even had a family meeting. All right, no jokes about how the ark smells, but let's get organized. Who's in charge of planting and taking care of the garden? Who's cleaning the living areas? And who's keeping an eye on the sky, just in case? You can almost imagine the scene, smiles mixed with determination, as they figured out how to rebuild their lives from scratch. It wasn't just about chores, it was about unity, a collective effort to bring order to a new, uncertain world. Still, even someone as remarkable as Noah wasn't perfect. The Bible tells us he struggled too. After planting a vineyard, he made a mistake, getting drunk, which caused some conflict within his family. It's a humbling reminder that no matter how faithful or courageous we are, we're all human and prone to error. But what's truly amazing is how God responds to our flaws. He doesn't abandon us or give up on us. If God trusted Noah, a man with imperfections just like ours, why wouldn't he believe in you? It's comforting to know that even when we fall short, God's grace is always present, giving us another chance to grow and do better. And Noah's responsibilities didn't end with surviving the flood. He was entrusted with caring for the world that remained, an enormous task. Imagine the weight of that responsibility. Today, that same task belongs to us. Every tree we protect, every animal we care for, every resource we conserve, it all ties back to the mission that began on the ark. It's easy to take our planet for granted, but when we pause to think about it, we realize that this world isn't just our home. It's a divine gift meant to be cherished and preserved. Noah's story may have concluded in the Bible, But in reality, it continues through each of us. Every act of faith, every moment of resilience, every effort to rebuild after life's setbacks mirrors what Noah experienced. It's as if Noah himself could stand before us today and say, "I made it through my storm, and so can you. Just hold on to your faith and keep going." And then there's that unforgettable image, the one that lingers in our minds. Picture Noah standing beneath the first rainbow, the vivid colors arching across the sky, a symbol of hope and renewal. His family is beside him, weary from their trials, but filled with gratitude and determination. Around them, the animals they worked so hard to save, each one a testament to their faith and perseverance. It's a powerful scene that reminds us of what's possible when we trust in God's plan, even when it seems unclear. So let this story inspire you. Like Noah, face your storms with courage. Build your dreams with unwavering faith, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. And no matter how many times life knocks you down, rise again. Because in the end, after every storm, there's always a rainbow waiting for you, a sign of hope, a reminder that better days are ahead. If this message moved you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need encouragement today. Together, we can spread more light and hope to those around us. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. Stay tuned because there's so much more coming your way. Until next time, take care and be inspired.